Hello and welcome. This is Sayuma running my Mimic, Maozia. Now, I know that I'm not exactly running things perfectly here, but this is a very easy dungeon for you to train your Mimic in. Par Dungeon, if you're not familiar with it, it's located just a little bit to the northeast of Vales. When you're using a Mimic, you have to keep in mind, of course, that they can only attack once physically before they have to do something different than attack. Now, some people might go ahead and try and tell you should very strictly defend, but I've found it quite effective to first attack and then fire off a lightning bolt to keep them nice and stunned. Sometimes it'll kill them in one shot, but if it doesn't, you can go ahead and string in another attack. You can chain that back and forth quite a few times if you get good at the timing. Even a newbie should be able to do this, particularly because in Par Dungeon Ruins, most of the monsters shouldn't be able to give you much trouble, particularly because of the fact that the Mimic's stunning damage when he hits them with Lightning Bolt gives them nice wide openings for you to go through and abuse each time that you get the chance to hit them. So, for the most part, this is a very easy dungeon to run, even for beginners, and even if they do manage to go through and hit you, well, let's just say that most monsters deal very negligible damage in this dungeon. Now, Bandersnatches, of course, as you'll see here, well, they're a little bit harder to damage, but you can easily dispatch them with your lightning bolts. You might say, oh, well, he's level 14. I barely started running this Mimic today, and I've mostly run it just here through Par Ruins, so it's not like I've done anything particularly special except for one thing in the state of preparation, which is, if you look at my inventory here, I started out with quite a few bit more, but I took in a lot of mana potions. You cannot train a Mimic without plenty of mana potions on hand for lightning bolts unless you want to take a long time. Mostly due to the fact that, well, a Mimic without mana potions is like an artist without paint, particularly as you'll see I've already managed to capture 4 statues. Making statues murders your magic points very, very fast. I've done it, of course, for the novelty, but it's, aside from that, not particularly useful. Of course, you can go through and sell particularly amusing statues to people if they're interested in them, but for the most part, statues are just a little bit of extra fun in the game. They're not really something that you should take seriously. Of course, if you're training your Mimic, you're probably taking making statues a little bit seriously, just due to the fact that the only way that you'll be able to make most things into statues is by taking them down and being a bit higher level than them. They've got to be usually at like only 1 or 2 hit points or in deadly status for you to be able to manage a statue. Of course, you can't make statues out of bosses, but, well, hey, nothing's perfect in the world. Anyways, this is, of course, the main boss of Par Dungeons, which is a giant Bandersnatch accompanied by Dinglehoppers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can easily take them down using Lightning Bolt, of course, just like most other things in this entire dungeon. You'll notice that even though it may not be extremely effective at lower levels, as long as you have enough mana potions to keep you running, you should be able to take these things down no problem, anytime, easy as pie. So, if you are wondering how you should train your Mimic and you're kind of new to the game, I hope this video will help you realize that it's not that difficult. Mimics don't really suck, particularly because of the fact that if you've watched, I'm only level 14. I've only been running this Mimic for the very first time. I'm not running it as a mount or anything like that quite yet because I haven't decided to finish with my training. I consider its training to be done sometime around level 47, of course, because that's when it's gotten all of its skills as far as training skills go. This is really a lot easier than some people will make it seem because, of course, they'll say, oh yeah, the Mimics only have 1 hit and they don't have counter, but this is a very easy dungeon. You can run through it several times, nice and quick. My only suggestion is